Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm a total dork, and last weekend I was unfortunate enough to try playing the Modern Warfare 2 beta. Now, normally I stick to zombies on the channel here, and I was initially just going to have my review of the beta be a post in the community tab, but the beta was so bad that I just had to make a video talking about it. But before we get into it, there's a super important question for my subscribers at the end of the video, so please stick around until the end for that. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. The biggest problem I noticed when I started playing didn't have anything to do with the graphics, the gameplay, or anything like that. The biggest problem when I started, and what continues to be the biggest problem with Modern Warfare 2, is the user experience. It is genuinely shocking how much of this game is seemingly designed to be intentionally disorienting and confusing. I would be annoyed if the game recycled the same menu the series has recycled since Modern Warfare, but at least I'd be able to see what the hell I'm doing. When I loaded into the beta for the first time, I was immediately annoyed with the first thing I saw. A giant message from Infinity Ward asking me to go to the store and buy the most expensive version of the game before I had even started playing the game. And once you scroll past that and try and actually play the beta, you'll notice a convenient reminder in the top right hand corner of the screen that pressing the left analog stick will let you pre-order the game from anywhere inside the menu. It's definitely for your convenience and not a striking sign of desperate greed. I know the beta is really just a demo designed to increase sales, but can you at least go 5 fucking minutes before trying to sell me something? You know, keep the taste of shit out of my mouth for a couple matches. But when you scroll down, you'll see exactly 3 game modes. Keep in mind, there's more playlists than just Invasion, Team Deathmatch, and Domination in the beta. They're just not here for some reason. And if you scroll down again, there's a way to play the Modern Warfare 2 beta that we're already in, and also a game that isn't going to be released for another few months or weeks after the game launches. And if you click the left trigger, you can scroll through those same menus in a list, but with more button presses. I have no idea why you would ever do this, but it's there if you like wasting time. Frankly, I don't know why this is a scrollable menu at all, since the middle menu is the only one with actual content. Maybe the full game will have tabs for campaign and spec ops here, but then why include the scrolling feature at all as part of a multiplayer only beta? So anyway, you click the menu for Team Deathmatch because you know what that is, and instead of being thrown into a playlist of Team Deathmatch like you would have expected based on your experience playing every prior Call of Duty game, you have now accessed the start of the multiplayer menus. Now, if I had 20 years of prior games to reference when designing this UI, I would have labeled that menu option as multiplayer. You know, like they did for every single prior Call of Duty game. When you want to access the multiplayer, you click the option that says multiplayer, and when you want the option to play Team Deathmatch, you click the option that says Team Deathmatch. But at least I'm where I want to be, so I can start putting together my custom classes. Oh, that's strange. There's not a menu option for create a class. That's strange. There's only one for play, weapons, operator, a challenge menu that's grayed out, probably just for the beta, and the store, which is absolutely necessary for a game that costs $70. I can already see that extra $10 didn't go to designing a user interface, but that's fine. Okay, let's scroll to the right and try weapons. Maybe that's where create a class is. Okay, we have loadouts, kill streaks, and vehicle customization. Before moving forward, let's play a game of which of these is not like the others. Anyway, the multiplayer loadout is the thing that I want, so let's click that. I already have a custom loadout here, but let's try and create a new one from scratch. So we'll move over to the plus button, and rather than just creating a new class with a default loadout, you have to click a default loadout and then change everything from there. And also, we apparently only have 10 custom loadout slots, or maybe not because there's a giant line through that text. Did Infinity Ward mean to delete that and strike through the text as a reminder to themselves, or is this a visual bug? Anyway, we'll pick one of these and move forward. So I really want to make a class with the M16. That was my favorite weapon in the original Modern Warfare, so let's try and do that. Okay, the M16 is locked, so how do I unlock it? It doesn't tell me how to unlock it, it just says locked. Okay, that's cool. I like the M4 too. Okay, there's another button to go through after you press A to equip. I can only guess this is a menu that'll be filled with the $20 versions of the gun you buy in the store with anime girls on them. You know, like the ones you see in every portrayal of the military in media, movies. You know, the things you definitely think about when thinking about the army. anime catgirl guns. So there wasn't a menu for attachments or anything, so let's see what Gunsmith is. Maybe that's where they are. So we loaded the Gunsmith and we have a menu that looks a little familiar, but with all of the relevant information spread out all over the place instead of in an easy to read list. Let's start by trying to put a red dot sight on my weapon because that's always a good starting point. But even though my weapon is at nearly the max level, it's still locked for some reason, alongside about 100 other opticals that don't tell me anything about how to unlock them, their stats, or even their name and what they look like on the gun. So if I want to know what to do to unlock any of these, now I have to leave the game and search for that information online. It's definitely not a good sign that the user interface is neglecting its one job of informing the player. Also, it's not just the opticals, but every attachment needs to be Googled for you to know how to unlock them. So have fun doing that. And speaking of attachments, there's no way to spin the gun around and see how it looks on the gun like you've been able to do in every prior Call of Duty game since Black Ops 4. That feature that's been a staple in first-person shooters for the past half-decade, and you would assume would be vital in a game that focused a fair bit of its marketing on the weapon vault system to make sure all weapon attachment combinations look nice. Yeah, that feature, just gone. Scrapped. There's also a thing I can click on with the name of the weapon itself, and it brings up completely different weapons. Hey, one of those weapons is the M16. I want to make a class with that. Is this where I learn how to unlock the M16? Okay, apparently not. But hey, at least I can now swap my assault rifle with exactly one light machine gun in the attachments menu, instead of making that change in the weapons menu like every prior game in the franchise. That's innovation right there. So the customization menu is basically the same as the past few games. At least I know that will work. So let's take a look at progression. At first glance, it looks like another version of the menu that lets me turn my assault rifle into one LMG, but then where's the... Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. The M16 is not only on top of the tabs for the menu, but the fucking diagram is not centered. Hovering over the middle weapon on the bottom tree covers the level requirement to unlock the next weapon. You couldn't figure out how to make the menus not overlap each other? Fucking move that shit. Make the entire right-hand side of the screen not completely wasted too. And why isn't this information displayed in the weapons menu? Why did I have to go make an entirely new class, equip the M4, go to the progression menu, and learn that I need to reach level 13 on the 5.56 Icarus to unlock the M16 when that could have just been written in plain text in the main menu like it is for the level unlock? That entire submenu could have been completely removed and replaced with 2 lines of text in a menu that you already have created specifically to tell me to go to that redundant submenu. Let's just hope this is the only time the menus are gonna not tell me how to unlock something. I'm gonna take a look at the field upgrades and how do I get the second field upgrade? So this whole thing has been a series of unnecessary changes. Let's hope the perks are a different story. Okay, I see they're reusing the same layout for perks and weapons. If the layout was good, I'd applaud it for consistency, but it's not. For some reason, the last 2 perks are significantly larger than the first 2 in the menus. They couldn't figure out how to crop that shit, and now as a result, this menu has to scroll for exactly 1 perk. 1. Also, the buttons don't work as they should. If you try to back out of the perk selection without making a change, it brings you back to this submenu instead of letting you continue to edit your perk class, which makes creating your perk package far more frustrating than it's ever been. Is there any reason this couldn't have been structured like nearly every other perk system in the franchise, with 3 categories that you just pick through? Why does it need to be a separate created class for perks? This isn't nearly as complex as a weapon with 5 attachments, camos, charms, decals, and stickers. It's 4 perks that do one thing. It's not something that you're in danger of losing if you accidentally delete it. Anyway, I got rid of overkill as a perk, so now I can pick my secondary. Oh, look at that. There's only 2 secondary pistols and 2 rocket launchers, both of which require you to be level 20 to unlock? Keep in mind, there's only 30 levels in the beta. It's gonna take a while to unlock those. We started with a rocket launcher in every prior game, so I guess that means Infinity Ward just had to get rid of it. Speaking of things you start with, there's no SMG, sniper rifle, light machine gun, battle rifle, or marksman rifle. Apparently those are 2 different things. You start the game with just 1 assault rifle, 1 shotgun, and 1 pistol. Everything else is unlocked either via level up, which happens relatively quickly, or through the Gunsmith. It is extremely restrictive to player freedom, and instead of promoting players to use a variety of weapons to unlock new weapons like I believe they intended, it caused me to only use the M4 and this game's equivalent of the AK-74U throughout my entire time playing the beta. I tried going through the progression on the M4, but I didn't like using either the 5.56 Icarus or the FTAC Recon, so I stopped using them. My entire time with the beta was limited to just 2 guns, which, by the way, the M4 seems to be the meta gun for the game, so Infinity Ward accidentally made straying from the meta in any way extremely difficult, because unlocking those new weapons is far more difficult, because you can't use the meta weapon to unlock them. But now my class is done. I can't wait to go through the entire process 9 times so I can make all the custom classes I want. I like how this process took me an hour and several YouTube guides to do instead of the 10 minutes it took in the original Modern Warfare. That extra 15 minutes is going to make my player retention look really great to Activision's investors. And I guess the frustration to do something so simple doesn't matter to them. So now that we finally stopped talking about create a class, let's get into a match. Firstly, I want to try something that isn't team deathmatch, and there isn't an option to change your game mode anywhere on the screen here. So I'm going to do what's only natural and logical, which is to pull up the menu with the button you use to change your controller settings, click an option that would imply it wants to take you back to the title menu, but it actually takes you to an entirely different version of the play menu where you can there choose your game mode. How does that make any sense? Why isn't this accessible from the play menu itself? Why does it need to be 2 play menus at all? We'll never know. Also, this menu scrolls because letting you see all the game modes on screen would just be too accessible and easy to understand at a glance, so now you have to scroll through the list to see if a game mode you want to play is even available, because we all know there's going to be some limited time modes that won't be here forever. There's also no option for team deathmatch or domination, and that's because to access those modes, you have to go into quick play and pick from the 2 yourself to make quick play the playlist for TDM or domination. Hey, here's an idea. Why not have a playlist for Team Deathmatch and for Domination? And then a quick play playlist with all of the respawn modes in them. Maybe even a playlist with all the one life modes too. Do you like how we're this far into the video and I haven't even started talking about the gameplay yet? The user interface is so bad that it's taken up over half the video when it shouldn't have taken up any time at all. User interfaces aren't supposed to be noticed. So when I spend more than 5 seconds thinking about it and talking about it in a video, you know it needs some work. This needs nothing less than an entire redesign from the ground up. I tried adding fixed UI to my clan tag as a symbol of support, but after the menu camera focused on my operator's chest for 30 seconds, I learned that clan tags don't seem to show up anywhere. I guess Infinity Ward thought ahead. But the confusion doesn't stop at the menus, because seeing what you're doing during gameplay is also challenging. The gun shake and bounce is so much that tracking enemies amounts to guessing where they are, and apparently it was worse in the first weekend of the beta on PlayStation, and that was somehow an improvement over Modern Warfare 2019? I don't know about you, but I don't have fucking Predator vision, so I need to be able to see what I'm shooting at to hit it. And speaking of what I'm shooting at, good God, is it impossible to tell friend from foe in this game. All of the character models look the same, with the same visual characteristics in most models. The amount of times I've been shot by a teammate thinking I'm an enemy or vice versa is far higher than any other first-person shooter that I've ever played. The first goal in a first-person shooter is to make the act of shooting satisfying, and it's the first thing Modern Warfare 2's gameplay gets wrong. All of this would be bad on its own, but it's infinitely compounded by the visual glitches all over the game. Most important of which are the flashing lights during every single kill cam. If you have epilepsy, I cannot recommend getting this game or watching the next part of this video for any reason, as it contains rapid flashing lights that Infinity Ward does nothing to warn you about in any part of the beta. Beyond my own health and safety concerns, it makes it impossible to see what's happening in the kill cam or even navigate menus during the game. So Modern Warfare 2 suffers from a lot of visual bugs and the legendarily bad user interface. But that's all stuff that can be fixed between now and launch. As long as the game underneath is good, then we'll be fine, right? Well, I'm sorry to say that, at least in my opinion, the game underneath is bad. It's worth clarifying that I didn't play Modern Warfare 2019 when it was released. When Advanced Warfare released, I went from buying and playing every new game to just picking up the Treyarch games for zombies. But I know all the criticisms of Modern Warfare 2019, and after playing the beta for Modern Warfare 2, I can see exactly why those criticisms were indeed problems in the last game. Why can I tell that? because every single issue from Modern Warfare 2019 returns in the sequel. We've already talked about what gunfights are like, so let's move back to finding someone to shoot. In most games, including prior Call of Duties, you typically find players by looking at your minimap for red dots, hovering around the objective and power positions on the map, knowing what routes people generally take to get around, and so on. In Modern Warfare 2, all of that has been completely thrown out and replaced with listening for players to move around in their lead shoes and getting the drop on them. Rather than the game encouraging players to play aggressively and seek out enemies, the game instead encourages them to hang back and wait for enemies to come to them. With how easy it is to identify players that are moving, the game immediately gives the advantage to players who don't move at all. On top of that, the maps are often filled with dozens of small rooms and tons of sight lines, so if you move into a room, anyone in that room can not only hear you from a mile away, but can also be set up and ready to shoot you from dozens of different angles. It's like Call of Duty Ghosts all over again, but now with lead shoes and skill-based matchmaking, another entirely different problem we don't even have time to talk about right now. There's no red dots on the minimap when a player shoots, so the only way to find them is by running around the map searching for them. But if you do that, they'll hear you coming and be ready to have the drop on you. You could try listening for enemies and not moving yourself, and that will work, but a game where only one specific playstyle is rewarded and all others are punished isn't exactly a match for the most successful accessible first-person shooter of all time. You can run UAVs, of course, but they last for so little time it's hard to say if they're even worth it or not. In prior games, you could run perks like Dead Silence or Ninja to make your footsteps quiet and prevent players from hearing you coming, but Dead Silence is not only a field upgrade in this game, so you'll only get it a few times a match, but when you activate your field upgrade, you make a sound that all other players in the map can hear, which makes it entirely useless. Either you don't activate Dead Silence and let other players hear you're coming, or you activate Dead Silence and tell everyone exactly where you are and that you're coming for them, or activate it so far away from other players that you barely have anything left by the time you're close. And remember, you don't know where the enemies are because there are no red dots on the map when they fire their guns, so they may be close enough to hear you anyway. 6v6 is a mess. The only saving grace for the beta are Invasion and Ground War, which tend to feel a bit more relaxed. I can pick up a sniper and scout snipe like World at War, which is something I've wanted COD to return to since 2008. There's also a leak that Infection will be part of the game at launch, which I'm excited for. Otherwise, I have no interest in the game's multiplayer. If I had the game, I could see myself playing it occasionally for the big team modes and the scratch down Infection itch that Halo Infinite still hasn't satisfied. Otherwise, I have no interest in buying the game for multiplayer. As for the campaign in Spec Ops, we'll see. That being said, I know this is in large part a channel based around Call of Duty. It's been mainly Call of Duty Zombies, but broadly speaking, there's a lot of COD fans here. So I want to reach out to you guys directly for this. I'm not sold on the game. If it were entirely my choice, I'd spend my money elsewhere. However, if there's a demand from my subscribers for Modern Warfare 2 videos, I'll buy the game and make videos on it. All I can guarantee right now is the full game review and the seasonal reviews I did for Cold War and Vanguard, but I'm sure I'll have something to say about the rest of the game as it progresses. Of course, I'll still be making videos on zombies and Halo Infinite and everything else I'm already doing as well, but if you want to see Modern Warfare 2 videos on the channel, let me know. I'm putting a poll in the description and at the top right hand corner of the screen where you can vote. If you want videos on the game, this is how you let me know. Well, those are just my thoughts on the Modern Warfare 2 beta. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.